Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you tonight for joining us on episode 4, season 6 of Standoff with Brad and Richie here on New Zealand Sport Radio. We're here live on Wednesdays on Facebook and YouTube about the season. Evening, Richie. What a weekend of footy. A few upsets made our tips look bad, including great wins by the Warriors and the Roosters. How are you, and what did you think of the round?
I'm doing well, thanks, Brad. Very busy. I had to race here to make it on time. I'm on call, so as I was just filling you in on. But yes, what a weekend, mate. When the Warriors put on a performance like that, it's always good, especially when you're not expecting it and you're expecting that same scoreline, but the other way around. It was very good. Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, good. I had a great weekend. I had Friday off for my birthday, so I spent the day with my partner, and I was telling Paul before we went live, I did nothing but bitch and complain all day about how we were having this nice day, and then we had to go watch the Warriors get smashed by the Sea Eagles. And as good as it's going to be to get back to Mount Smart, not happy for the result. So, yeah, very happy that we got a good win out of it. So, it was good. And having the day off, I got to go early and watch the New South Wales Cup as well. So, that was good.
And that was a good game too.
But yeah, while we're here live on Wednesday evenings at 8 p.m, you can also catch our show at your convenience on iHeartRadio and Spotify. Just remember to search for New Zealand Sport Radio. As always, we're going to cover everything you need to know on the week that was rugby league, including our top stories of the week, a review of the round 2 matches. We'll then take a look at the ladder, our fantasy teams, which I'm not sure Richie wants to do anymore, and the tipping comp.
I don't want to do that anymore either.
We'll then answer some questions from you guys as well as ones we've prepared for each other before ending the night on a preview of round 3 and discussing who we're picking. Not that you guys should take any of our opinions on that on board. After 2 rounds, we've been pretty shocking. But yeah, remember to send us comments and questions throughout the show. And we may as well get into the top stories of the week. I see Jacko's here and Simon's here as well. He's saying he's at the NBL, so he'll catch up on demand.
Oh, enjoy, Simon.
Yeah, it's always a good time going to the NBL, actually.
Yeah.
So we're getting to the top stories. I got quite a few, mate. I've got more than what you had.
Okay.
Because that's what I like to do to you, and stuff always happens after I've sent you the notes. But the first one you do have. The NRL Integrity Unit has issued their breach to Richard Agar for his altercation in Vegas. He's been fined $10,000, which has been half suspended, conditional on good behaviour, and stood down for 3 matches, as well as undertaking appropriate education and training. He's got 5 days to respond to the breach notice, but I haven't heard anything on if they're going to fight it or not. But what's your take on it? Also, the Roosters guys abusing the referee, they got no breach.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. So, what's your thoughts on Agar? Part of it is he can't go to the games, obviously, so he doesn't get to go and watch the game on Friday. I believe he can still be at training. And Jacko said, this is something I said to Paul beforehand. He said, if you saw the video of Agar, it was hardly anything over the top punishment. Yeah, I couldn't get a proper copy of the video, but it didn't look like much, but obviously it was enough for them to deem it worthy. But what do you reckon, Richie?
It's over the top unless you're part of the Warriors organization, and then it's quite fitting, according to the NRL. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see it like Jacko, so I can't really make an educated comment. Not that any of my comments are ever educated, but
that's not changing anything.
But yeah, I just think it seems harsh compared to what the Roosters guys got, which was nothing. But again, I didn't see any of them, so I don't really have a lot of place to comment.
Yeah, I think it's a bit much, especially since the Roosters guys got off when apparently there was a lot of public witnesses to that one, and they got nothing. But yeah, just lump and leave it. He gets to sit at home and not have to travel to Australia for a bit. Get to take some nice classes to personally develop himself, I guess. So,
so does Stacey step up to help fill the coaching void? So I've heard. I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, he's already an assistant, so I guess he just moves one seat over.
Yeah.
I would
One seat
assume.
over at the table. Yeah.
Yeah. For those three weeks. But yeah, we'll find out on Friday when we're watching on TV and see which seat he's sitting in the box.
Yeah.
Next one, the NRL were busy with all this stuff, but they issued a letter to all clubs declaring any punishments for any negativity towards referees from player and coaches will be more strictly enforced. This year, I saw our mate Sticky made a comment about it and said it's probably going to save him a lot of money this year. No, now he's got this letter, but I wanted more. We didn't get a good copy of the letter, but I wanted more details around what they deem negativity. So if you are asked about a call and you don't say anything derogatory, but you disagree with the call, do they class that as negativity?
Paul?
But hang on, but didn't you just say that some Roosters players abused the ref? But they were but that's not negativity, then, is it?
Well, that ref wasn't an NRL referee; he was in America. Doesn't count, Paul. Yeah.
And they're Roosters. They're Roosters as well. Yeah, and they're Roosters. They get a free pass.
Yeah, so I think I don't like the stance. I think anyone should be able to be critical of a performance. I think there's a line, obviously, that you shouldn't cross. But I feel like saying any negativity doesn't do anything but protects referees, even if they're doing something like a bad job and need to improve. If you cover them in cotton wool, it's not going to help anyone. And there were some shocking calls over the weekend. So we want to see their refs get better. I understand that it's a thankless job and they struggle to get new refs in because of all the criticism they get, but the criticism won't stop. It's just the criticism will be stopped in the media. So, what do you reckon? I don't think it's going to change. I think if we'll go with Sticky again. If the refs have a shocker against in a Raiders game, Sticky's all going to say what Sticky's going to say. It just means you might pay a bit more for it.
Yeah, I obviously there's a line which you don't cross, using words like cheat and things like that. I feel if it's, I don't know. It's sometimes you listen to Ricky do his thing and you think he's towing the line. But yeah, I think it should be, in my opinion, I've always had the opinion it should be somewhat fair game as long as you don't cross certain lines and take it too far. If you're just issuing some feedback on what you saw and it's not filled with words like biased or cheating or things like that, then why can't we scrutinize the officials' performances like we do players?
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with the first big blowout from a ref, from a coach. We'll see what actually happens. Next one you don't have, and it's quite a lot. So I'm going to sit here and read a book for everyone.
Great.
It's about the next TV deal. So there's a massive article I was reading, and I just took bits out that may be interesting. But Peter V'landys has revealed that the NRL's next TV deal will break the sports record, saying it will be a record deal. He said he won't discuss figures, but it'll be our biggest ever broadcast deal. So he just likes saying how big it is 3 times in one sentence. We've worked very hard to get the game to be the most watched sport in Australia. It's a strategy. Now, naturally, we want to be rewarded for that. The reports suggest the NRL have been internally discussing a broadcast TV deal that could bring multiple partners to the table, both Australian-owned and those from the international streaming market, with the likes of Netflix and Amazon potentially getting involved. V'landys has also confirmed that Disney have expressed interest. And he said that all options are on the table. He then talked about the NFL and said the NFL have broken up their products between free-to-air cable and streaming. they have given a little bit to everybody. So for $5 a month, you might be able to watch the NRL on Amazon or Netflix. I'm not saying that's necessarily what we're going to do, but it's an option. The current TV setup with the NRL, as the case for decades, has been all games live on Fox Sport, and a handful of games also simulcast on Channel 9, a free-to-air TV channel. Then obviously over here, we just have Sky. So I would be interested if it ended up on a Disney or a Netflix, because I already have a Disney and Netflix. Does that mean I just get it?
Paul looks like
have to use Sky. Paul's going to say something.
He thinks it's not going to work. I can tell.
I think it's going to be the same deal we've already got.
Okay,
just
so straight
money.
Up, first, look, sports rights, TV rights, the money has gone down globally. So they'll be bucking the trend if he does this. And if he does this, then well done. When he says Disney, what he really means is Discovery Plus. He doesn't actually mean Disney itself, because they actually own it. Now, Discovery Plus have had cycling rights, for example, and other things like that. So when he says Disney, he doesn't mean Disney Plus. He means Discovery Plus, which is their sports arm for this kind of stuff. Look, the problem with chopping it up, if he does chop it up in different pieces, is you end up having if you want to watch every NFL game live, if you're in the US, you have to buy like 5 subscriptions, right? Because they're on different, a bit like the Premier League is now split across different people. No one has all of them, and if he goes on that route, that is bad for fans. But I can see where he's getting it from. If you say, look, Fox will have all of them, so you can pay Fox, or you can pay someone else for some of them, then that's not such a bad deal. But you really have to have everything somewhere so that you can actually just pay once and get all your games. You don't want to be paying 6 different subscriptions for a whole bunch of crap you don't want, as well as just to get the NRL, is my view. Sorry, there's my rant.
That's what I'm about too. Let me pay one fee and I can watch all the games. That's all I need.
Yeah. I think the thing he's forgotten, and I think it was Jacko said, Volanti sounds like Trump, everything's bigger and better. That is the way he's going. But the thing he's forgetting with the NFL is that the normal consumer of the NFL doesn't watch, or they watch one team. They watch their team. I'm that type of NFL fan. I check and see what if I actually have my team, the New York Giants, having a game on Sky. And if it is, I'll watch it. If it's not, I don't watch it. You watch your one team for the most part. There are some people that watch or a couple of the games, and then you watch the Super Bowl. That's it. The NRL doesn't work that way. You do have fans that will just watch, say, the Warriors. They'll watch the Warriors game every week. But you have a lot of people that are like us that will watch all 8 games every week. And if they did bring in a model where you're paying 3 or 4 different providers, I probably still will do it because it's something I enjoy to watch. But I wouldn't be happy about like Paul likes to keep rejecting on here.
It's your life, okay? So that's why you would do it, because it's who you are, it's what you are, it's your life. It's not just what you like to do.
But then I also don't pay for Sky. So,
you'll find a cheapskate way of doing it.
Yeah, there'll be a way. But I have Disney and Netflix. I know Disney's had that deal recently where in New Zealand market, we're getting ESPN on Disney now, which is going to be shared between Disney and Sky. But yeah, I honestly just think it's but we'll put it into league terms as a player. You visited New Zealand to look at the Warriors changing rooms because you want the Sharks to give you a bigger deal. This has all been saying so Fox Sports pay a bigger deal. That's the goal here. So I'm expecting the exact same thing that's happened for decades to be again. They're just trying to up the price, which that's part of his job, to be fair. He needs to try to make more money. So I don't hate the hustle. I don't think it's going to work chopping the NRL up into bits and trying to get it into different markets. Because then you will get a point where you're just watching your one team every week, and that would make viewership go down and look bad. So yeah, we'll see what happens. He also said they're going to wait till they have a confirmed number of teams that they're going to be before he starts the negotiations, because there are rumors that they're talking to Perth again. So we have to wait till he actually has an idea of how many teams and what the teams are before they even start talking about TV deals. So it'll probably be something we talk about a bit later. But anything else you want to add to it, mate?
No.
Next one, I'm sure you've seen it. The NRL are investigating a moment at the Warriors-Eagles game when Gordon Chan Kum Tong was recorded confronting a fan, grabbing his jersey after the fan was heckling Jake Trbojevic when he was getting sin-binned. The NRL released a statement saying the NRL is aware of the video shared on social media and is making inquiries. Nothing since then in terms of what the NRL found. Anthony Seibold has come out when asked about it and defended Gordon and said that he stands by Gordon because the fan that was doing the situation used very offensive language and needed to be stopped. Hearing that, the fan in question actually had recorded the thing and put it out on social media. And
no swear words.
He set up the wires, essentially, and a bit of hooping and hollering, but no swear words, nothing personally attacking Jake, which kind of made it look worse for the Seals' point of view.
He was thanking Jake.
Yeah.
He was saying, thank you, Gerbo. Thank you, Gerbo.
Yeah. So the fan in question also said he doesn't think there should be any punishments. As I was talking with Paul, though, before when we were talking about that Richie Agar thing, you got that line with Richie Agar saying, like, I don't care. We don't know what the journalist said. In this situation, we do know what the fan said. But regardless of if the fan did say something bad, you can't physically grab them and have a go. If that's what they're doing, I don't think much. There might be a ban or a fine. I think it's probably just going to be a fine.
I think a fine would be fitting.
Yeah.
He did cross the line. There wasn't much in it, but he did cross the line.
There was nothing in it, but again, it's still not something the NRL are going to want to see, that they're contracted athletes grabbing a fan, especially when they want to get fans to the stadium. And, you know, it could also be something that could start something even worse, where if you see a player, you can get a rise out of a player and get social media clicks because a player grabbed you. Will fans take it to the next level and try to egg on players that are sitting in the sidelines? So also, I still don't understand why I don't go to other stadiums, but I don't know why they do it at Mount Smart. The players not playing sit right in the middle of the fans. They just there's no like separate area. They have boxes that I don't know why they don't just have a box for the away team to stop that. They have, you know, you've been there behind us. They have a little box that Warriors players can go sit in. This game, though, on Friday, some of the players didn't. Like 3 rows down from where I sit, we had Tamati Martin, Tanner Boyd, and someone else who I can't remember right now. Were just sitting in the front row for the whole game. They were left alone for the most part. But, I feel like, just sitting right out in the crowd with Warriors fans that, you know, we're expecting a loss, so we're beyond overjoyed at the fact that they were winning. We're probably getting a bit chirpy anyway. But yeah, so we'll probably have by next show we'll have an actual thing. But yeah, I don't think there was much in it, but yeah, I think they've got to stamp it out so they don't do anything. And like I said to Paul, Gordon's a very little guy. I don't think I would have been that intimidated by it.
Little but stocky, though.
Yeah, like most of you short people. Like Hugh and Hammer, you know, short but wide.
Yeah.
So, anything else you want to say about that, man?
No, I think Paul's onto it. 20 minutes in already. We're faffing around a bit.
Paul's getting so I've got nothing else to do, Paul. You know. Next one, Kiwis coach Stacey Jones said he would like Kalen Ponga to switch his international allegiance to New Zealand, saying this has been in the back of my mind for a while. I'd love to just sit down and have a chat with him. Mal Meninga, the Kangaroos coach, has come out and simply responded saying that you can't do that. Technically, he can. The rules are in place where he can because he's only represented Australia in nines.
Yeah.
But he can't play Origin again if he did make the switch. Unless they change that rule at some point. But I personally think he does not give two shits about playing for Australia. He doesn't care.
No, but it'll be
He's passionate
Queensland.
about New Zealand. It's Queensland.
Yeah, I think this is what I think, that Queensland will come out and select him and try to put that talk to bed. Yeah.
Yeah. And Bjorn said, surely this isn't going to happen. It's a nothing story. We've got to talk about Ponga sometime. But yeah, I think they'll pick him in Origin.
Me too.
Yeah, and Jacko said Buzz knew more than Cronk and Mal, which was hilarious. I thought that was actually really funny because they were both coming out saying it's against the rules. He can't, and Buzz had to explain to them the rules, which is always funny because I always like laughing at Buzz for being a bit out of touch, but he knew his stuff on this. So we'll see. He'll get picked for Origin this year, and then it's all put to boot again. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I just thought we'd put it in. Video game update, another one that probably doesn't matter to anyone but us, but there was a video on YouTube showing, I think it was a Warrington player doing scans and stuff, and one of the people in the video said it's for the new rugby league game, and they said it's going to be released in July this year. So nothing officially confirmed, but that was the leak. And then two more that I just had today. The Bulldogs have released Ryan Sutton from his contract effective immediately. I've heard no rumours of which team he's going to jump to. And then the Dragons have also been rumoured to have released Francis Molo from his contract. I don't know if we talked about it the past few weeks, but there's been a lot of drama between him and them. He's been refusing to play, refusing to go to training. And everything because he just wants out. He knows how to do it better than Ben Hunt because he got it done a lot quicker.
He was using mental health, wasn't he?
Yeah. But yeah, apparently nothing confirmed yet, but apparently after agreeing to pay back part of his salary to the club, they're letting him go. So he's paying to get out, which Ben Hunt did offer to do, but they said no. And he has been linked with the Dolphins, which I think Jacko has just put in. There's been no official announcement from the Dolphins yet, but that seems to be where he's going almost immediately once it's all confirmed that the Dragons will let him out. But yeah, anything you want to add to those guys being released?
Nope, not really. Nope. Happy as.
So we'll go to signings. So one that I had in the news that I moved because it got confirmed about half an hour before the show. The Rabbitohs have announced the signing of Brandon Smith. It's a 2-year deal from 2026. So they did a little social media feed where they had a chair with a block of cheese in it with a New Zealand flag and then the Rabbitohs stuff behind it. And I think it said it's going to get hectic in 26 or something like that.
Yeah, like that.
But yeah,
that's good.
That's good. I did see some fans were commenting about the irony of it, that when he was linked to go to the Dolphins under Bennett, and then he backflipped on it to join the Roosters, and now Bennett's still getting his man. He's just getting him a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
So it'll be good if he can't play, if he can't improve from his slump under Bennett. It's just Super League or bust for him, really. So I think he'll go well. Another one, speaking of Dragons from before, Makali Ravalava. He is joining the Rabbits for the remainder of this season on loan before returning back to the Dragons in 26, which I thought was interesting because we talked about it last year. The Dragons wanted him gone, but so now they're just letting him go, but letting him come back.
I don't understand it. He scores so many tries for the Dragons.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm happy for him to go to the Rabbits for a year. I see it from the Dragons' point of view. It's probably a win-win. You get him to go and learn under Wayne Bennett for a year before coming back to that rubbish coach that they've got, So it will help him out, maybe develop more as a player. Bjorn said good signing for South, so I assume you mean Cheese.
He means Cheese, I think, yeah. But I guess when you've got Christian Tuipulotu playing the way he is, that's pretty much your Michele Ravalawa right there, isn't it? Your power winger, finisher. Yeah.
Yeah. So, good for him though. The West Tigers have released. Sorry, I put replace. I don't know why. Released David Klemmer effective immediately, so he could join the Dragons straight away. It's good. He wasn't happy there, and Dragons need some help in the forward department. So
yeah, I think it's win-win, that one. I mean, Tigers have just pulled in Royce Hunt and Terrell May, who's going gangbusters. So
they really don't need him. Yeah, they don't need him unless one of those guys got injured, and you don't want to pay the money they're paying for Clemmer.
Yeah, exactly. And the Dragons need a bit of help in the middle. So
yeah. And then we had 2 extensions. The Storm extended Josh King until the end of 27, and the Bulldogs extended Kurt Mann until the end of 26. So
good and good.
Nothing there. Kind of expect both of those to happen. Injury award. We had so many injuries, mate. I only reduced them down to some big ones. So Matt Burton and Kakao from the Bulldogs both injured their MCLs. And Burton, they said it's going to be between 2 and 4 weeks, and Kakao 4 to 6. So big losses for the Bulldogs. But yeah, thankfully it wasn't season-ending like ACLs or anything like that. So take a bit of a grain of salt there, but make their campaign a little bit harder for the next month. Yeah. Dylan Edwards injured his groin and is going to be out for 2 to 3 weeks. Disappointing for the Panthers, but they've got Dane Laurie there who looks really happy to get any time to shine. So I think they'll try to cover that. Zach Hosking from the Raiders is going for surgery on a broken hand and will miss 4 to 6 weeks, which hurts me as one of my fantasy guys.
Oh, my son too. He had him and he's devastated.
And then Leo Thompson from the Knights injured his medial ligament and will miss a few weeks. No need for surgery. And then the last ones I put in were just Tommy Turbo and DC from the Sea Eagles. Both left the field during the match against the Warriors, but appear to be clear and have been named to play this week. Before moving on, I'll just talk about it. I didn't... DCE I can get. Tommy Turbo's one rubbed me the wrong way. Apparently it was, he's had issues with his hamstring. But how he did it, they were just running a play and it was right in front of me. He just walked off the field or jogged off the field. And I think I said to you and Ron Hammer in the chat, the game was still in the balance. I would be, as a player, a bit disappointed that one of my stars that can change the game just walked off and left us. I know the hamstring is an issue and they'd rather lose this game and keep him for the rest of the season. I understand, but he wasn't really, I know they said he was limping. He looked completely fine when he came off. But
I was just going to say that though, Brad. I mean, the game is in the balance, but when it comes to Tommy, their season's in the balance. If he, if anything worse happens to him and damages it to the point where he's out for months. So from that point of view, I understand it. And although he's been named, that's exactly why I'm expecting him to probably get pulled out this week as well.
Yeah, I'd be giving them the week off if they're worried about it. But and Bjorn said just an old man injury for DCE. I've had a few myself. Yeah, poor old guy. He just had a sore back, back spasms, and he couldn't do anything. But so that was my view on it live at the game before understanding what was going on. But so I get it. I was just thinking from a player point of view. You need your big stars, and then your big stars abandon you. It can change your mindset during the game when you're trying to win. When you see, shit, we've lost Turbo, and then, oh no, DCE's getting taken off. We're in trouble, which is basically what happened to them anyway. But
they were toast anyway.
Yeah. Next up, Naughty Boy Corner. We just got 3. Lachlan Hubner from the Rabbits. He got a 2-week ban for a grade 2 crusher. Kai Pierce-Paul from the Knights got a 2-week ban for a grade 2 shoulder charge.
Yep. And
then Celesi Faketi from the Roosters got a 2-week ban for a grade 2 careless high tackle.
All pretty fair.
I did feel stink for Pierce-Paul where they didn't cite it to a whole set later. But it still happened. But
he definitely was shoulder. That was shoulder to head, that tackle. So I don't feel sorry for him. Do the crime, do the time.
Unless he's in the Warriors jersey,
100.
And we change our mind. So we'll go into round 2. First time for the year that we've had to do 8 games. So settle in. First game on Thursday. Knights defeating the...
I had an energy drink. I'm going to need it. 8 games.
Knights defeating the Dolphins 26-12. Yeah.
5 tries to 2. For the Knights, James Schiller with 2, Bradman Best with 1, Dane Gagai with 1, and Dylan Lucas. Much to Brad's delight, I'm sure, and his fantasy team. For the Dolphins, Mark Nichols and Isaiah Couture.
Yeah, there's rumors Lucas might be out this week, though. Any fantasy people.
Okay.
Got injured at training. The Knights weren't perfect here with errors and missed chances, but they dominated the first half against the Dolphins. Their attack faded in the second half, but their defense held strong. Even when they had a man in the bin, they conceded no points during that 10 minutes. As their attacking combos improve, keeping their opponents to 2 tries per game will set them up well for success. I think that's the more impressive thing. It's only 2 rounds, but they've kept teams reasonably low scoring. So those combinations will get better attacking-wise. So, yeah, it wasn't pretty, but I think it was still a comprehensive win, which is all you can ask for right now.
Yeah, Paul kind of stole half of my notes on the Knights there with the 20-6 at halftime all over. That's
not a lot of notes. That's just saying what the score was at halftime.
Yeah, that was half my notes, mate. But yeah, that pretty much summed it up. That first half, Ponga was unreal, laying on tries left, right, and centre. I saw an interesting thing from Dennon Kemp, a little snippet he did on the game at halftime or after the game, showing a lot of Ponga's positions that he was finding himself in. It's almost like he's playing halfback in the attacking zone. Heaps of first receiver, and saying maybe that's their plan with him at halfback on attack when Dylan Brown comes in, which does make a lot of sense. But he was unreal. Schiller with a couple of tries was really good, and he looks like I don't think they would have paid overs for he would have been a bargain buy from the Raiders, and he's a solid winger with heaps of pace. But yeah, I mean, there's still room to improve, but I thought they looked good and definitely good enough to put the Dolphins away at home. Yeah,
and your thoughts on the Dolphins?
Yeah, this is the poorest start to a season for the Dolphins and their young, what are they, 3rd year in now? Yeah. Not the greatest start, and maybe the Wayne Bennett curse is a thing, but yeah, they just don't look anywhere near where we know they can be when the Hammer and Herbie Farmworth are in full flight and causing headaches everywhere. But they just looked quiet and not offering a lot of threat at all. So. But a lot of problems on the surface there for the Dolphins. A lot of work for Christian Wolf to do to try and correct it.
Yeah, and before I talk about the Dolphins, Jagger said Knights' problem will be balancing salary cap once Brown's on the payroll. Yeah, we talked about that last week. That will be their issue in the future, is trying to have enough talent there that can help those big names. And Paul said, they've had to play 2 away games the opening 2 rounds. One of them wasn't their fault. It was meant to be home, but they were underwater. But they're back home. Bjorn said they're back at home this weekend, and it's a sellout. But the Dolphins are struggling, possibly feeling that Wayne Bennett curse that we talk about all the time. But simply put, they made too many errors, gave away too many penalties, and just lacked cohesion in attack. With the defensive issues adding to their troubles as well. It's just going to be a tough season, I think, for Christian Wolf, especially with some challenging games ahead. Like the next 2 or 3 weeks are really tough for them. So, in 3 weeks' time, they might be like cemented at the bottom of the ladder, and that's a real hard place to come back from when you're trying to make finals later on in the year. But your player to stand out?
My player to stand out was Ponga. Just thought he looked unreal. He's had a real great start to the season.
I went with Schiller.
Yeah, he was good.
I don't think much of him, but he's solid, really good out there. Yeah, he doesn't let them down, and I think if they can use him more to help Ponga out on those edges, and Paul said Ponga topped fantasy with 82, So yeah, he was good. I was a bit more mindful of that. I don't want to keep just talking about all the fantasy guys every week to make it look. So yeah, thought that was very good. Next game, Friday, Warriors defeating Seagulls 36-16.
6 tries to 3 for the Warriors. Chanel Harris-Tavita, Tainto Apiki, Ali Leotawa, Wade Egan, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, and Luke Metcalf. And for Manly, Tom Travojevic, Jason Saab, and Daly Cherry Evans.
Yeah, what a great surprise this was. I didn't give the Warriors much of a chance in this match. And Manly's quick try at the beginning really worried me, but the Warriors stayed calm. Their forwards controlled the middle, allowing the backs to stride. Their defense kept Manly on the back foot. They had a really good defensive line speed. Had a few issues with the edge. Paul, you want to bring me back on screen? There we go.
I liked it better before.
Yeah, they had a few issues on the edge defense with Roger and Pompey. I talked about in my review. Said I don't know if we blame RTS. I don't know if we blame Pompey. I don't know if we blame a miscommunication further towards the middle that flowed on. In my prop mentality, it looked like Roger just doesn't trust Pompey, so he kept coming in and not trusting him to have that inside. I don't know. That's something they need to work on because we're not fast as it is. So if you give them the outside edge all the time, they're going to get burnt, which we saw at moments in this game. And there were a few questionable bunker tries, which we may discuss later. But it was a big improvement from last week, which isn't saying much. And I know Jacko said we gave them no hope, 100%. But when we went off here, Paul can confirm this, I did put money on the Warriors to win. So I tried to help there.
You do that every week.
I do when they get paying. Yeah, and Bjorn said, "Did you back them?" Yeah, I did. I put money on them. And Jacko said RTS jammed in like Montoya used to a while ago. Yeah, so they need to fix that. But if they build on this and make this platform, I'm a bit more confident in how they might go this year. I know it's only one win and that, but yeah, it's what happens when they win. You get all fizzy. Your thoughts on the Warriors?
Yeah, obviously fantastic, mate. A result none of us were tipping as much as you want to say you put money on them. We know you do that every week. But yeah, on my take on the defense out wide, I was thinking that was Roger Tuivasa-Sheck's fault on a couple of those ones where that we conceded. It looked like he jammed and Pompey was drifting, the insides were drifting, and we had coverage. So I didn't think the jam was necessary, but if it was, definite lack of communication between Pompey and Roger. Because if he's jamming, Pompey's going to want to push behind to cover, and that's just not smart when the person you're trying to sweep behind and cover is Saab. Pompey's never going to have him for pace. But yeah, I thought the boys were far, far better. It goes without saying. The halves were really good. Metcalf, Chanel Harris-Tavita, I thought was a really good foil on the left-hand side and scored a nice try as well. Set up a lovely try out wide on the left-hand side with a nice double pump to hold the defenders. So, I thought we were far better, and the pack laid a far better platform for us. I thought we had the better of the middles in this one, and yeah, just a lovely, lovely surprise, and a good day late present for your birthday, Brad.
Yeah, and your thoughts on Manly?
After the opening 10 to 15 minutes, I was thinking it was looking like it's going to be a bloodbath. They seem to be catching us out wide regularly, and there were a couple of moments where they probably could have got another try or two. But I think they knocked one on, and our scramble sort of saved us as well.
But
a couple of forward passes, I think, too.
A couple of forward passes. So this game, that's one thing is us Warriors fans need to be mindful of. It could quite easily have gone the other way had those stuck. Who knows? We may have dropped our heads, but then the game turned, got into the arm wrestle, and turned it up a notch. And Manly couldn't hang, which was great because after round one, we all saw what Manly did. We saw what we did. Everything was pointing to that scoreline being the other way around. So, yeah, I don't feel bad for Manly. I'm chuffed. Yeah.
Yeah, and Jacko said Webster got the bench rotation pretty much spot on, which was refreshing. Yeah, I thought it was one of his better rotations since he started as head coach. There's still some tweaks, I think, but for the most part, I think he had the right idea with what to do, and it worked. But yeah, for Manly, they started strong, but they just hurt themselves. They had 11-6 again calls, which obviously led to Jake Travojevic getting sent to the bin. And they were just pushing the rules far too much. There was probably a few more that they probably could have got done for. But they look dangerous when getting the ball to the speedsters, which is a no-brainer. You throw it out to Tommy Turbo or Saab and you're in trouble if they're in open space. But with all those errors, they were lucky to get the 16 points. With at least one questionable bunker try. I could probably sit here and argue that there were two. Possibly three if you want to include Wade Eden's try in that. But I think they just simply took the Warriors lightly, which will be a theme going on in my reviews of the other games in this round. And I expect them to bounce back big this week against the Raiders. And I know you said everyone didn't pick them. Simon and a few others did pick the Warriors in our tipping comp. So there were a few people that didn't listen to us, which is probably wise.
Yeah, true. Oh, well done. Well done to those people because from what I saw, it felt like 95% of people were tipping Manly.
Yeah. And your player to stand out?
I went with Chanel Harris-Tavita, actually. There were a number of people I could quite happily have gone with as well. Wade Egan, Aaron Clark. I thought there were a number of strong candidates, but I just really liked what I saw out of Chanel. His ball playing, his running, his defense is always strong. So, yeah, kind of like what Jacko just said. I think that kind of performance has cemented the 6 jersey for him for the foreseeable future. Yeah,
he was great, and Aaron Clark, special shout out to him. He's back-to-back games. He's been the leading running meter reader for the Warriors. So it's good to see he's hit the ground running. I went with Wade Egan. He was able to capitalize on what the forwards were doing for him, and that's what we want to see from him. If he can get that, if the forwards can get that roll on, we need him to be sniping out a dummy half and putting pressure on, so it exposes holes later on for Metcalf and Chanel out wide. So, and I thought it was great. Tough character, and touch wood, he's been pretty good health wise. So great to see him have another big game. And Paul said that he topped with fantasy as well. But yeah, very happy. Made driving home. I can tell you, mate, I was driving home thinking we're going to smash those Roosters because they're rubbish. Can't wait to see how much they're getting smashed by the time I get home, which leads us into their game. Them defeating the Panthers 38-32 for the upset of the bloody round.
Yeah, thank you, Panthers, for playing them into form. Appreciate that.
Sorry, the Warriors game wasn't the upset of the round.
No one. $11 outsiders, Paul. Warriors were paying, I think, $3.
Yeah. Okay. And to the try scorers for the Panthers, there were 5: Paul Alamoti, Brian To'o, Liam Henry, Dylan Edwards, and Casey McLean. For the Roosters, 7 tries. Mark Nwanganitawase, Connor Watson had 2. Daniel Tupou had 2. Sanders Smith and Dom Young. They were the try scorers for the Roosters.
Well done, mate. That was the cleanest I've heard Marky Mark's name said in a while.
Thank you. I've been practicing.
Yeah. Here we go. I'm just bringing myself back because Paul's not paying attention. I need my face on camera, Paul. So, the Roosters crashed the Warriors party with the upset of the round. They seem to want it more, pushing for every meter and creating chances with second phase footy. Matching Penrith in the first half and stepping up, I thought, in the second. Despite some poor discipline, letting the Panthers back into the game, the Roosters dug deep and held on for a remarkable win, proving this season isn't the write-off many, including myself, expected. Great ending where their defense, they They refused to let the Panthers were going to pip this one at the post and at least try to force it into Golden Point, and they managed to keep Brian Tohu out in the corner, which isn't something that you can just easily do. So as much as it disappointed me seeing this happen when I was expecting them to be easy beats, I thought it was a great performance from them. And as Jago said, Panthers were dreadful, though. Yeah, that played a big part in it too. But credit where credit's due. You can't help how the other team's playing when you size up. So
was that credit where credit's due as to Paul talking about the where the Roosters are going to finish at the end of the season during the predictions?
Yeah, we'll see, man. You never know.
Coach Wayne Bennett will be so pleased.
Yeah. So your thoughts on the Roosters, mate?
Outstanding. Like completely not what I expected. Given that they conceded 50 to the Broncos the week before. I was just so impressed with how they bounced back and went toe to toe. Their attack looked far, far better this week. They just seem to be punching holes that you don't often see in the Panthers' defensive line. And I don't know what the reason behind that is, but I haven't seen the Panthers defend like that in a long time. But you got to give Roosters the credit for running the plays, making the holes, busting the tackles. Because the Panthers' defensive system's still the same.
Yeah.
Obviously not executed as well, but the Roosters attacked outstandingly. So,
yeah. And your thoughts on the Roosters?
The Roosters or the Panthers?
The Panthers. Sorry, I was just used to the Roosters meant to be losing.
No, that's fine. Well, they actually scored 32 points, so you have to give them that. Their attack still, did what it does. Pick defensive part and score tries. Really, it's just the defense. I don't know what their preparation was like, but it's been years since we've seen that from the Panthers. Actually, maybe we've seen it from the Broncos in the grand final a couple of years ago, where they put quite a few points past the Panthers. But it's not every day you see it, and we know they're slow starters, so I'm not gonna go panic stations, write them off just yet. But it just leaves me wondering: are we starting to see little cracks? We say it. We ask the same question every year. But Luai and Fisher Harris, just such big contributors. Fisher Harris to that middle and to their defense, which we saw was poor on the weekend. And Luai was just the perfect Robin to Nathan Cleary, Batman.
He does have a chin on him to be Batman, to be fair.
He does have a Batman chin. But yeah, I don't know. Is it just the slow start, which we're used to, or is it cracks starting to appear?
Yeah, it's hard to say what happened here, really. The Panthers did more than enough to win the game, as you said, with the ball in their hands. But their defensive was atrocious. They had 46 missed tackles, which sounds more like something we'd hear from a Warriors game as opposed to a Panthers game. It's not something we've come to expect from them. And they would have taken harsh lessons from it. I love him, but Ivan, I do love seeing Ivan in interviews after they lose, because he's not used to losing that often, and he gets really catty with the media when they're losing. Like, he basically told them all to be quiet because they've moved on from the loss, and we don't need to talk about it anymore. So I thought that was quite funny, but they're going to bounce back. That is what they do. In our predictions, we already know I've predicted them not to make the grand final, so I do expect them to slide, but I don't expect them to perform like this. So I expect to see a much improved defense this week. Your player to stand out, Paul said Connor Watson topped with 70.
Yep, and I went Connor Watson as well. I just thought he was so busy and was integral to pretty much everything the Roosters were doing. So he was a standout for me.
Yeah, I went with Watson as well. Thought he did really well. I think it was Bloke in a Bar that were talking. I think Dean Kemp said like a few years ago, Watson approached him and asked him for Cameron Smith's number because he wanted to learn or have a conversation with him about being a better hooker. At that point, he was still just the utility. I think being given the right to be the number 9, you can see why the Roosters are happy to just let Brandon Smith go.
Yeah.
If Connor's going to be their number 1 guy there, and yeah, it was fantastic from him. So we'll move on to the next game. Rabbitohs defeating the Dragons 25-24.
Ruined my picks. My picks are already ruined by this point, let's be fair. 5 tries to 4 for the Dragons. Tyrell Sloan had 2, Kyle Flanagan had 2, and Christian Tuipulotu scored 1 and started making it rain. For the Rabbitohs, Jai Gray, Peter Mamazelis, Cody Walker, and Sean Kepi.
Yeah, I keep writing South Soft this year, and they keep making me look stupid. Another team that just plays with heart. They lost many of the stats, but they just never gave up. Still rusty on attack without some of their strike weapons, and their defensive line was a mess at times. But when push came to shove, the young rookie showed all the calm and composure of a seasoned veteran and secured the victory. That field goal was unbelievable. Like it was such a disastrous start to that play.
Yeah.
And then he just got it, and everyone watched him as he just kicked it. I don't know why the Dragons didn't try to rush him. I don't know. It wasn't a setup for a field goal. They just watched.
They all just stopped. Yeah, it was so strange.
But yeah, I still think it's going to be a tough year for them, and they're going to have to fight and scratch for every win. But Bennett's got them believing in themselves, which is half the battle. So, yeah, very impressed with them. Your take on the Rabbits?
I thought they showed grit. It was an ugly kind of game. I think both teams made a fair few errors, and Rabbitohs definitely didn't look slick, but they showed that intangible thing that Wayne Bennett seems to bring to his teams, just to fight and stay in the game and scrap for everything. And this, 2 weeks in a row now, they come away with the points because of it. So it's great that they're not playing well and missing players, but still winning. That's always good signs. I still don't feel like they're going to show enough to threaten the top 4 or anything, I'm sort of looking at them as anywhere from 7 to 12, 13 kind of area. That's what I feel like they'll end up. But it's a great start anyway. They, without sort of playing the house down, still picking up wins. So it's a good start for the rest. The Rabbitohs, sorry.
Yeah, and your take on the Dragons?
They again, Paul stole some of my notes there, but I had that the Dragons actually scored more tries, but wound up losing due to Valentine Holmes leaving his kicking boots at home. Flano understandably wasn't happy. He probably should have zipped his mouth a little bit because he got a few people offside with his comments on his halfback, Elias. But yeah, I just feel like the Dragons let this one slip. It was a game they were winning at halftime. They were leading for a lot of it, but yeah, goal kicking so important, especially when you got Humphreys nailing 4 from 4 and then kicking a field goal. So no, it's pretty much the opposite of the Rabbitohs. The Dragons go 0 from 2. Probably should have won this one, but yeah.
Yeah, just when I pick the Dragons, they go and lose, mate. Breaks my heart. The Dragons look to have the win secured going into the final quarter. The forwards were gaining the momentum, and Sloan and Tuipulotu were causing havoc with the ball in hand. They switched off for a bit and let the Rabbits back into the match, and then when the Rabbits nailed their field goal, it looked like they panicked and forgot how to close games. They still had plenty of time. There was 5 minutes left. Field goal themselves, anything. I can see with how Valentine Holmes' goal kicking was, they wouldn't be wanting to throw it to him to try to get a field goal. But that's more a concern that when push came to shove for them, in the dying stages when the game was in the balance, they had no one step up and say, we can do this. They just kind of wilted, which is what I expect them to do as Dragons, but not this week when I was picking them. Still in reach of my wooden spoon prediction at the moment, but there are worse teams out there. So they have that in their favor. Jamie Humphries, who we've already talked about a lot, he topped with fantasy with 72. And who did you pick?
Had to go with him. I think you went with him last week. I didn't, but I mean, I couldn't deny him this week. They pretty much won the game because of his boot, and I just think he's made such a solid start to the season.
Yeah, I went with him too. So I've gone for 2 weeks in a row. But he's been great. You know, all the talk about the Englishman that they brought over to be their new halfback that's never going to play halfback unless this kid gets injured. The Rabbits could have saved themselves a lot of money.
He's a solid halfback too, isn't he? Like physique wise, he
just looks the business. There's going to be a dip at some point. You know, you can't keep going up. Even Nathan Cleary has his bad days, but 2 games, 2 impressive performances. I'd be happy as a Rabbitohs fan having him there.
This is you diverting from fantasy points. In fact, you just chosen the first game not to choose fantasy play. I'm good. I'm glad we've made the massive shift away from that.
Yeah, 1 game. Next week it'll be 2, and then on and on. I think I probably on this one coming up, I've probably gone against it as well. So just wait. We've got more games to go. Sharks defeating Cowboys, mate, 36-12.
Yep, 7 tries to 2 for the Sharks. We had Kale Iro had 2, Brighton Nakora had 1, Sam Stonestreet had 2, Teague Wilton and Ronaldo Mulitalo for the Cowboys, Jackson Purdue and Scotty Drinkwater. Jackson Purdue also spent some time in the sin bin.
Yeah. Sharks scored quick and then took some time to find their groove. They tuned out big meters and looked threatening, making 10 line breaks in this match. However, their high error rate stopped them hitting the 40 or 50 point mark. They just need to keep tinkering with the attacking structure, and if they show the ball more respect, they're going to be a really tough team to defeat, which we kind of said in our predictions for them this year. Your take on the Sharks?
Yeah, I actually didn't think they played to their potential. They even had players like AFB who not sort of hitting the number of meters he normally does. He didn't play bad at all. But yeah, I feel like they had a lot more in them. Just the Cowboys were awful. They were really, really bad. So yeah, I think the Sharks still have another gear or two, which is concerning. Once they really click, I feel like they're going to be extremely hard to beat. But yeah, the Cowboys. Shall I just move on to what I have to say about the Cowboys?
Yep,
might as well segue into it. They, mate, what is going on there? We know their defense is poor. Normally, they've been able to try and out attack teams with what on earth was that? with Scotty Drinkwater and guys like that. But yeah, even that deserted them here. I get the feeling that I don't know if it's that Peyton has potentially lost the dressing room, but they don't look to be playing for each other or playing with any sort of purpose or game plan. So, but in saying that, in the last couple of years, we've seen them go on bad runs and then all of a sudden turn it around and go on a very good run and put them back on track. So, still very early days, but terrible signs. You get another couple of weeks of that, and then Peyton might start sweating.
Yeah. Hold on.
All the noises tonight.
Yeah.
All the noises tonight.
Thank you, neighbor, turning off the alarm. Cowboys look dreadful. They barely fired a shot on attack and still don't know how to defend, which was an issue we talked about last year with them. Desperately they need Tomoolo to return to add some starch and experience. I do believe he's been named this week. I forgot to check it.
Yeah, he has.
not much more to say about them, really, other than they're really poor right now, and Peyton may be looking for a new job very shortly if they don't turn things around. I do think it's a bit harsh on Mr. Duffy. He dropped the halfback. I don't think he was the problem. But Peyton's got to do something to try to save his own skin, which is probably not how we envisioned his career going with them.
Mate, when your forwards are stinking out the joint that badly, I think Jerome Hughes would struggle, to be fair.
Yeah. But yeah, shocking from them. They are not NRL worthy right now. Aero top fantasy was 75. Who'd you go with?
Yeah, I'm going the fantasy points there, but I thought Edo was outstanding. I thought both their centers was really good. Like I was saying, I don't think the whole team played up to their potential, but some of those back five were really humming and made a big difference in this game. Yeah,
I went with Sam Stone Street.
There you go.
I really like him, and he scored 2 nice tries. I think he's going to be a big attacking weapon for them as the season develops. So yeah, not the fantasy player, Paul. So there you go. I think I'd have it on this one though, unfortunately. Raiders defeating the Broncos 32-22.
Yeah, one of my favorite games of the weekend. 6 tries to 4 for the Raiders. Matty Nicholson had 2. Josh Papali'i, Tom Starling, Matty Timoko, and Sevalio Tamale. And for the Broncos, Jesse Arthurs had 3. And Selwyn Cobbo was the other try scorer.
Yeah, what an effort from Canberra. Was almost one-way traffic for the first hour with the Raiders just relentlessly attacking the Broncos line. Their pack was just outright bullying the Broncos. Some impressive efforts from Papali'i, Horsburgh, and the debuting Matty Nicholson. Hell of a matchup this week that they have against Manly, and what could be match of the round. They just need to reduce the penalties. That's really the only thing I could critique about Raiders in this performance was they were a bit naughty, which would normally cost them against a good team like the Broncos. But I'll talk about them a bit later. Your thoughts on the Raiders?
I actually think the Raiders gave away a lot of penalties, but the way they were playing shell-shocked the Broncos almost. They had a lot of line speed, a lot of aggression, so naturally they conceded a few penalties, but I think it just really put the Broncos off their game, and we have to give Canberra a lot of credit with that. The first 2 weeks have been outstanding, and you can see the blueprint. Their forwards are playing out of their skin. Like I said, on defense, fast line speed, on attack, just rolling through the middle, dominating up the middle, and a lot of offloads. Horsburgh's providing a lot of offloads, and he's had a great start to the year. Nice bounce back start to the year for him. Simon must be chuffed because they're looking really good.
Yeah, and before you talk about the Broncos, Jacko's just commented as well and said Raiders playing with very high energy. Likely they'll drift off the pace by mid-season. That is always a risk with these high-intensity style performances that you burn out a bit earlier. We'll see if that happens, but your take on the Bronx?
They were well below what most people were expecting, and given what we saw from them the week before, everyone was thinking Broncos for sure. But like I was saying before, I think they were forced into playing poorly by the Raiders, who just came with a game plan and executed it very well. They got into the Broncos' heads, in particular Reece Walsh. I think Reece Walsh, they really got to him. He started making a couple of errors, and then he's just inside his own head. Normally, you see him, he'll make a mistake or two and bounce back and do 2 or 3 great plays, which just puts the Broncos on the front foot. But it seemed like the harder he tried to rectify, the worse he was getting. It was almost like he's in quicksand. But I thought one of the few shining lights for the Broncos was their back five, minus what Reece Walsh did.
Yeah.
You take Reece Walsh out of it. I thought Arthurs was good. Dean Mariner looked dangerous. Cobbo had his moments. So, yeah, other than that, it was pretty slim pickings for positives for the Broncos.
Yeah, they were just well below par. They couldn't hold on to the ball, and the more points the Raiders piled on, the more they started to panic. And I think panic's the main thing I noticed with that, especially with Walsh. He looked like a deer in headlights. He didn't know what to do. They can be world beaters when they're confident, which we've seen. But yeah, they need to show some spirit when their backs against the wall. I think that's the biggest. It's the cliche I use on the show all the time, but it's like a flat track bully scenario. When they're high on themselves and everything's going right, they're top of the world. But if they get some adversity, they do fall apart. We saw it in that grand final. Everything was running their way, and then when they faced adversity, they collapsed and had a shocking come from behind victory against them. So the positive for them, I think, is that they are going to play the Cowboys this weekend. So if there's anything that's going to build their confidence, it's going to be that. So I'm expecting a massive one-sided result from them this week against the Cowboys. Your player to stand out. Payne Haas and Matty Nicholson were the best. 85 for Payne Haas and 82 for Matty Nicholson.
I went with someone a little left field and didn't actually appear on the try scoring sheet or anything, but Sebastian Chris, I just thought looked deadly all night and was making half breaks, line breaks, setting up tries. I just
Broncos made him look like a top tier center. That's for
I
sure.
know. It was
I reverted back to the old ways of the dark arts of fantasy, and I went with Matty Nicholson. I was very impressed with him. He had been doing all right in Super League before coming down here, and they were all hyped about his debut, and he just hit the ground running and looked amazing. Looked like he's been in the NRL forever. So I was very, very happy to see him, and Raiders may have found themselves another Pommy that can do the job. So
they may have.
Next one, mate. Sunday, first game of Sunday. West Tigers defeating the Eels 32-6.
Juicy. 6-1 here. For the Tigers, Sunia Taruva had a hat-trick. Starting to show why he was one of their big recruits. Stafford Toa, Lockie Galvin, and Jarrell Skelton, another one of their new recruits, is going well. Yeah. For the Eels, just the one try for Sean Russell.
Yeah, I felt so bad for the Tigers when he scored that try at the end. If they had helped them scoreless, I think I was telling you and Ruin Hammer, I thought I ruined it for them as soon as I said it. But it was going to be the first time in 38 years a team affiliated with the West Tigers in either iteration before they became the combined had held a team scoreless. They were so close.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a way for the Tigers to secure their first win of the year. It took some time to get into rhythm. The first 20 minutes of this game being probably the worst 20 minutes of football I've seen from any game this season. Both sides were just dropping the ball and looked like they didn't want to be there. But once Taruva crossed for his first try, the Tigers seemed to settle their nerves and started to play nice footy. A big day for Terrell May up front, especially in that hot weather. He was just a beast.
He's unbelievable.
And that paved the way for Galvin and Luai to get Skelton and Taruva into scoring positions. A great effort from the Tigers here, and hopefully it's a win they can build their season on. Your take on the Tigers?
Yeah, not too dissimilar from you, Brad. I thought the opening quarter was ugly. Not just from the Eels. The Eels were ugly the whole game. The Tigers weren't great either. But once the ice was broken, they went for gold and managed to pile on 3 tries in pretty quick succession in the back end of the first half. And then just all momentum was with the Tigers. I thought once they got going, they looked threatening across the park, but a lot of potential in that spine. Luai obviously, but Galvin with his youth and enthusiasm. Uppy and Luai are gonna once the spine starts, they already have that combo from Penrith, but once they get going, I think I'm not going to go crazy and say top 8, but I'm pretty confident this is not a wooden spoon team we're watching this year. They're looking far better, especially with Terrell May doing what he does. They just look way better balanced and have a lot of threat. So, yeah, exciting for Tigers fans.
Before I ask you about the Eels, Jacko mentioned that last week when we talked about it, like this Tigers team will be a lot better with Uppy returning. Uppy returned, and that's what we saw. I'm not expecting this every week, but yeah, your take on the Eels.
Awful. Awful. Really, really bad. And we touched on it last week too, where I kind of said, "Oh no, Moses is not helping that."
No,
Moses is not helping that. He does a lot for them, but that's some big problems. And I know new coach Jason Riles, it's going to take some time, but yeah, that's not great signs for the Eels. And I try to come up with an outlandish call that might make me look smart at the end of the year, saying that I think Eels might sneak in top 8 and surprise. Yeah, I'm doing a U-turn on that now, and we're 2 rounds in.
Yeah, and Bjorn said, lucky for Brown, he signed his deal already.
Sorry, but no. Look, the prediction's locked in. There's no U-turns.
Oh, no. It's locked in. But in my head, I've U-turned. I think they're destined for bottom 4. Being generous, I think they're going to go. If they continue like that, they're going to. They'll be in spoon territory.
I have the slides for a bit of money. I can change it. No one will know. It'll be fine. Yeah, but Eels have to be my favourites for the spoon now. They look well below first grade level. Had plenty of opportunities to score, but kept screwing it up. Probably the most succinct way I can say it. We're lucky to score in that final minute to avoid the goose egg, but this team looks so far off the pace with no signs of improvement on the horizon. I messaged you and Ruin Hammer earlier saying that the CEO of the Eels has already given the worst thing a coach can hear when he said they fully back him as their coach. That's usually what you say when you're about to sack him, and he's only been the coach for 2 weeks.
I was going to say, did any of us have him down on our list? I don't think so.
You usually get your first year, although the Warriors have sacked a coach in their first year 6 months in with Bluey, but I don't think they're going to do that, Tim. I think they know, but it'll be hard out there. You know, the guy that you have to look at to try to get you out of trouble is a guy that's leaving and may not be that invested anymore. I don't know. I don't want to put that on him, but
not just leaving, but booed by his own fans, right?
Yeah, which Australians love to boo. I don't think we booed Reece Walsh when he was announced that he was leaving and he was still with us, or Adam Fanua-Blake for that matter, over here. But it's a very different situation. I think they were kind of putting their money.
For Reece Walsh, you're having a good season, and he wasn't playing badly. Adam and Fanua-Blake was pretty much a club legend. So yeah, they're not going to get booed, are they? They shouldn't do.
And he also didn't want to leave. He was just told by his missus he had to. So we had some sympathy for him in that, Mark. You know, the happy wife, happy life thing. But yeah, Eels are in trouble. I know. I did either of you pick them as the wooden spoon?
No, unfortunately. No. I picked them in the 8.
People did.
I picked them in the 8, mate. That's how bad I'm going.
Yeah. So yeah, our only way is up, I guess. Is what we usually say about the Tigers. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of improvement needed. We'll go on to the last game. Bulldogs defeating the Titans 40-24.
Yeah. 7 tries to 4 for the Doggies. Marcelo Montoya. Pains me to see him cross the line for them. Jamin Salmon, Reid Marnie, Josh Curran, Jacob Preston, Kurt Mann, Connor Tracy. For the Titans, this is where I'm showing my rugby league knowledge. My predicted top try scorer, 2 tries in his first game for the year.
Yep.
Yep. That's the first of about 20, 29 or 30. So let's go, Loffy.
Yeah.
Tino Fa'asua Malawi and Jojo Fafita.
Yeah. Before we go on, who was your player for the Tigers Eels game? I forgot. I picked Taruva.
Terrell May was mine.
All right. There you go. I went with the hat trick. So yeah, Bulldogs, Titans. Bulldogs look good here. Buoyed by their return to their sacred home ground, only playing there once this year. Packed it out. They hit the ground running, looked unstoppable in the first half. The injury to Matt Burton in the 27th minute didn't slow their attack down until the second half. And while they let in some soft tries, the game was already over. A solid performance. And it'll be interesting to see how they go, the next month without Kakao and Burton. But I didn't see too much that you would be disappointed with. I think they did more than a good job to get the job done here. Mm-hmm. And yeah, Paul said dogs at home as a banker. Yeah. Your take on the Dogs?
Yeah, I thought they were impressive, mate. They at home, obviously, but they scored 22 at halftime and then went on to put the 40 down. They just look like a continuation of last year to me. Looks like Serraldo has imprinted his game plan on them now, got his roster all on board, and this looks like their DNA under Serraldo, the way they play now. And it's effective. It really is. I had in my notes, just like you did, interesting to see how they go without Burton and Kikau now. But I think he's built a culture there where I think they'll cover those two until they get back. They'll cover them okay and keep rolling on.
Yeah, and your take on the Titans?
This you could rinse and repeat most of their games for the past half decade. Yeah, they've got attacking threats across the park. They can score flashy tries, but conceding 40 points, 30 to 40 points seems like a regular thing for the Titans, and they won't make any inroads up the ladder until they sort that out. But we've been saying it for half a decade, like I say, so I don't know if that's happening anytime soon.
Yeah, I've got more of the same. Our first look at the Titans for 2025, and unfortunately it looked like more of the same from 2024. They know how to score tries, as you said. They simply can't defend. Even though they did, stats-wise, they missed less tackles than the Bulldogs. The difference is when they miss, the misses lead to points. You could miss 100 tackles if you're missing them all in the middle of the field and no one's scoring. It's still an issue, but as long as there's not points coming off it, you can cover it. With how dangerous they can be with the ball in hand, they just need to sort that defense out. That's all you need to do. Sort that out, and they could be a tough team to have to play. I just don't see it happening. We've talked about it since Hasler's been there, that they just can't defend. And every year it's the same story. There's been no improvement.
It's simple, guys. Just come on, just phone up Brad, get him to come over as your new defense coach. Sorted. You'll be a championship team.
I was a great defender. I probably had more missed tackles than actual tackles if you looked at stats.
Yeah, I was going to say you'd want to bring Brad in for a offloading special skills coach.
Yeah, I was an offloader, not a tackler, Paul.
He was going for the big hit. Yeah, all or nothing. He's dead, or he's gone past me.
Yeah, I'm going to try to kill you, or I'm going to miss you.
Coach of the dark arts.
Pretty much. That's all I'd be good for. Your player to stand out. Tino tops was 74, and then Reed got 59 for the winning Bulldogs.
I went with Reed actually. I thought he was very solid and was a lot better than what he was in week one. Helps I had him in my fantasy too. He's probably one of the only ones in my team that scored well. So, yeah. Yeah,
I went with Connor Tracy. I got a try at the end, but he led. I think he led running meters and led line breaks. He was just being very dangerous. So I wanted to try to pick someone that we don't talk about every week because a lot of these teams, it's always the same person we pick. So, thought it was great for them. And, long way to go for Titans. So that was the round. Not too many changes in the ladder, but we'll bring the ladder up. I think you had top 8 last week, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, so I'll do it this week. Unchanged Storm at the top after their bye. Raiders moved to second. Bulldogs are third. Knights are fourth. Rabbits are fifth. Broncos went down to sixth. Tigers went up to seventh. And Sharks went up to eighth.
Yep, and here's the best of the rest. Sea Eagles at 9. Panthers in 10th. Warriors 11th. Titans 12th. Roosters 13th. Dragons 14th. Dolphins 15th. Cowboys 16th, and Eels 17th. I think that's a very fitting bottom 4 so far.
I'd like to say it'd be awesome to see the Dragons on 0 points next week, but they have the bye, so they're getting gifted 2 points, unfortunately. So that's going to keep them off the bottom. But yeah, no, I was going to say not too many surprises. There are a few more surprises there due to how we picked. I didn't expect some of these teams to be in the 8 right now. So yeah, I'm happy with that. We're getting close, man. We're close. Yeah. So we can stay in the hunt. We'll move on to our fantasy team. We'll do this quickly because I don't want to hurt Richie too much. So Richie, you got 598.
Pathetic.
You're now 121, 191 in the world. There's some pretty bad scores there, mate.
Mate, yeah. Well, you know, it kind of is what it is. I had the Melbourne Storm bye, which I had to take out 2 people, and then I had 1 suspension and 2 injuries. So I wasn't expecting great this week, but it's a lot below than what I thought it would be. But hey, take it on the chin.
Yeah, and I got 920 and moved up to 22,541 in the world. Very lucky I had some big games out of some players like Terrell May and Connor Watson to help me out.
Well done.
Yeah, some trouble this week with Hosking out. I've made a trade. I think I brought in the Pommy guy we just talked about for the Raiders. It's basically a swap for swap. I think that's what I did. But I've got Duffy on my bench, which you can't see, who I can't get rid of because he's worth next to nothing. Yeah. And I'm stuck with him. So I don't know. But we'll move on. I know no one probably cares that much about our fantasy. We'll go to tipping.
Oh, my God.
Richie, dead last, mate. Right down the bottom.
The cream will rise to the top, mate.
Yeah, so ACT Hellcat is still at the top with 13. Had the best score this week along with Harry Poppins. Both got 6 out of 8. Simon is second.
It's a crappy
yeah, he got 5. And then Michael Pazzuto was 4th. He's a big Doggies fan. Bjorn moved up to 5th. Your boy Mac, 6th. And then I'm down at 8th. And then, yeah, you and Ham are down the bottom. Because you guys
you're top 8 still. You're top 8.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to make top 8 this year. That's the goal. But yeah, I'm coming for those guys.
We've got to go at least top half, right? You've got to do the same ratio. Jeez, we're top 5. Is
top 8.
Top 8. Jesus.
Top 8.
Top 8.
Top 8's the goal, Paul. That's the goal. So we'll move to questions. Now, I did see you saved a few questions, Paul.
Yeah, I got a couple of questions from Bjorn. First up, that he saw drifting at Mount Smart Stadium on the TV the other day. Is this just in the car park out the back, or is that actually in the stadium itself?
It's technically in the stadium, but not in where the rugby is. Behind where the super top used to be at the back of the stadium. That is actually a little drifting racetrack now, and there's also a bar/cafe next to it, which is where a lot of the Warriors fans go before games because there's a gateway that takes you straight into the stadium there. But yeah, it's like a proper racetrack with some little stands where you can watch some drift and stuff. So it's technically just outside the ground, but still part of the grounds. But yeah, if you ever went to Mount Smart back in the old days and you know about the super top, that's where it is.
Yeah.
What's the name? I've gone blank. It's the name of that cafe, but it's
the name of it.
Isn't it members only or something? To be isn't that way? No, it's not that bit.
No, it's open to everybody. I can't remember the name of it right now. I haven't actually gone this year because we went early for the first game on Friday. So I was already in the stadium when most of the people I know that were going there. But I might go there this week because it's certainly a nice place to have a beer before the game.
Cool. And then with the Dragons winger making it rain with each try, what would be your try celebration if you ever got a try Now, obviously, I mean, Richie was a regular try scorer being the backs. Richie, what was yours? And then obviously, Brad will have to imagine what he would have done.
I'm hitting the robot.
Oh,
Yeah, going old school breakdancing.
And yeah, before I give my proper answer, it was already mentioned in the chat from Jacko. Shane Flanagan, the coach of the Dragons, because he has no fun in his life, he's told this winger he's not allowed to do that celebration anymore.
Yeah.
He's banned him from doing it. Said no, none of that, carry on.
There'll be no expressing yourself, son.
Yeah. So there's obviously a great happy feeling in the camp. We did, admittedly, I critiqued him in round one when he was doing it because his team was well behind on the scoreboard. But in this one, I didn't mind it because they were still in the game, and it potentially could have been the game winner for them if they had, defended a bit better.
If they didn't bottle it.
For me, I would just copy. I'd steal from the greats. So it would either be the Lauatiti finger wag, or my favorite, which is the Steve Price.
Steve Price clap. Got to do the Steve Price clap.
He does the Steve Price clap and throw the ball in the air.
Basic prop celebration.
Yeah.
Well, they can't do it one because then you're going to score through one try, right? Other players,
one of the
2
other.
and 3 when they get.
I know we're going long, but I'll tell you the last time I ever got close to scoring a try, Paul, it was my high school reunion, past first presidents. We were playing the current first 15. I had got into some decent shape, which I'd never been in my life. It's like I've been training. I was training preseason with the Manuel Marlins. So it's like I'll come down and I'll ruggers with everyone and I'll look good for once in my life. Did a pick and go at the try line. Got over the try line fairly easy because I'm a big bopper, and I dropped it over the line. And I tried to bullshit my way with the ref and say, no, I grounded it, but he went, nah. Closest I've ever got to scoring for years, and it was embarrassing. But yeah, that was it.
No, it wasn't on camera, so you're okay.
Did set up a try doing a charge down from a ruck and then getting the ball and offloading to our winger. So I can set them up, I just can't score them. Any other?
That's it from the chat, guys.
That's it. And Bjorn said, not sure props can count to 3. I said that and I put 4 fingers up. So there you go. Yeah, no, we can't. Your question for me, mate.
My question for you, Brad. We saw a massively improved showing from the Warriors halves combo on the weekend. Also in New South Wales Cup, Tamaire Martin and Tanner Boyd were looking good as well. Should we suffer an injury to our halves? Touch wood, we don't. But should we suffer an injury, who are you pulling into that first grade side?
Boyd.
I
still want to see Boyd. I really rated him, and I wanted him and Metcalf as my halves before the year started. But yeah, I'm not making changes unless there was an injury, like you've said in this question.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I feel like Boyd, I just want to see what he can do. And I feel like if it's Chanel, you could bring Boyd in. He's played 6. If it's Luke, he's played 7 as well. So you could bring him in either way. Tamati's got that experience, but I think we've got enough experience elsewhere where you could just bring in Boyd, who is a more ground and pound director of attacking footy than the rest of them are. Very touch wood. I would rather just see Luke Metcalf and Chanel play every game this year, uninjured. But yeah, if it was me, that's what I would probably do. I'd probably angle more towards Boyd. What about you?
Yeah, no, I had the same answer. I just would like to see what he could do in our team. We know what he's good at. I'd just like to see him, if he got the opportunity to just produce what he's good at and see what kind of effect that has on our team. A nice kicking game, some good ball playing. I'd like to see what he could contribute. I know what TMM can contribute, and it is good, but we bought this lad here because he's got some attributes that we don't have in other players, and I'd like to see it.
Yeah, but no injuries, please, and just let those two win the New South Wales Cup.
Yeah.
So, my question to you, it's kind of similar. When Dylan Martinez Lesniak is healthy and really ready to return to first grade, what would you do with the Warriors backline?
Okay, it's a tough one because I think a couple of defensive reads aside, Roger's been solid, and I want him to keep building on the wing. I think Tane's been really good on the wing, although it's not his second position. I'd still be looking to bring Dallin back because I think he's our best winger, out and out winger.
So only speed as well.
Well, Tane's got a bit of gas, but yeah, I think I'm bringing Tane in on the wing for Tane, but I'd be very tempted to bring Tane into fullback. Is that harsh on Chance? Yep, maybe, but no, maybe not. He had a poor first week, and I'd be maybe tossing up between Chance and Pompey for that centre spot.
So potentially moving Chance into centre, yeah.
Potentially, yeah. It's a toss of a coin, though. Pompey hasn't done too much wrong.
Yeah, I'm kind of similar. Dallin comes back, Tane to fullback, Chance in the centres, Pompey, which is what I had before he got injured. That was my backline. Yeah. Maybe a bit harsh on Pompey. I know I'm not his biggest fan. As Bjorn said earlier in the chat, I saved my boos for him. I did boo on Friday when his name was announced. Lovely guy, though. I got to meet him with Ruin Hammer, and I didn't say anything bad in front of him because he's very big. But he's been good. Like I had some issues with him in that game, but he did a hell of an offload. So it would be tough. And you've got guys like Rocco Berry coming back. So there are going to be some real tough decisions for Andrew Webster.
That's what you want, though, right?
Yeah.
Competition for spots.
Yeah. So, yeah, it would be interesting. But, yeah, Dallin comes back. It's just I feel like you need Tane, and Tane hasn't done anything wrong. But that's footy. Sometimes you can be the best playing to your best of your ability, and there's still someone that's going to take your spot because they're better. So, we'll see. We'll get to know in a couple of weeks when he comes back. So we'll move into the final round. We're almost letting you guys go home. We'll talk about the Warriors game first. Warriors versus Roosters this Friday at 8 p.m. If you want to give us the Warriors team.
Happy to. CNK at fullback. Wingers, Tane Tuapiki, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, Ali Leotawa and Adam Pompey in the centres. Halves pairing remains Chanel Harris-Tavita and Luke Metcalf. Front row, James Fisher-Harris, Mitch Barnett, Wade Egan. Back row, Kurt Capewell, Marata Niokore, Aaron Clark. Interchange, Dylan Walker, Jackson Ford, Dimitri Vaimaunga, and Leka Halasima. Unchanged again, which is good. Good for continuity.
The only interesting thing was Freddie, Rocco, and Laban all got named into the extended. I think Laban was named last week too, wasn't he? But Rocco Berry and Freddie Lussick have moved up. Freddie's come in. Sam Healy's apparently got a shoulder injury and might miss the week. That's why he's changed. But Rocco's obviously getting closer and closer to being brought in. But yeah, very happy. Don't change a winning formula. So they won last week. Keep them together. You happy enough with the team?
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy enough with the team. They had a really good win at home. You got to let them go around again.
I'm just trying to delay before I have to try to talk about the Roosters team. I've been practicing all day, and I think I'm going to butcher it. But fullback and captain, James Tedesco. Daniel Tupou and Dominic Young on the wings. Robert Toa and Mark Nawakanitiwasi.
Not bad.
Really bad. I apologize. I'm still practicing in the centres. I don't want to be the white guy just saying Marky Mark like he tells everyone to do. I will try. But I am going to butcher. No offense, Mark. Harves, Sandon Smith, and Chad Townsend. Spencer Leniu back from suspension at prop. Connor Watson and Nafu White in the front row. Angus Crichton, Saw Wong in the second row. Victor Radley lock, with the interchange being Zach Docker Clay. They had named Salisi, but he is the one that had the 2-week ban. So I assume they're going to bring someone in for him. Blake Steep and Lindsay Collins. I think it might be Makatoa that comes in for Salisi, but I'm not sure.
Good side.
It will be Chumberling. Who are you going to pick?
Picking Warriors to go back-to-back at home.
All right.
I think
picking
the
Warriors
Roosters
as well.
I think the Roosters really ambushed the Panthers, but it may take a bit of steam out of them. They expended a lot in that game, and they have to fly across to little old NZ for a battle.
Yeah. I'm going Warriors too. I'm thinking the home advantage hopefully gets them over the edge, and I'm confident they can grow the next step after what we saw against Manly. So yeah, confident that we'll bring up the rest of the round and discuss who we're picking, and see how much money we can lose, Paul, this week. So Thursday night we have Storm Panthers. I've gone Storm.
Me too. Yeah,
I know the Panthers will be looking at coming back strong, but Melbourne at home, I'm giving the edge here. So
Dylan Walker injured as well. I'm going Storm. Dylan Walker, Dylan Edwards, yeah. Dylan Edwards. Wrong Dylan.
Did we just lose Dylan to the Panthers?
Dylan?
What's going on?
Dylan,
right, so we're we both picked the Storm and we both picked the Warriors. Then next game on Friday we were Broncos Cowboys. I'm going Bronx. Even if they hadn't got spanked last week, I would have picked them. But if they lose back-to-back games to Raiders and Cowboys, write them off for the year. I'll put it here. But I don't see any way they can beat the Cowboys. Lose to the Cowboys, sorry.
Yeah, I'm thinking 13 plus. Yeah, Broncos.
Yeah, so we got 3 games to the multi-ball. Yeah.
Keep going. Keep throwing my money away.
All right. First game on Saturday, we got Sharks Rabbits. I've gone Sharks. I may have gone the other way if it was Rabbits home game, but yeah, Sharks have been looking good, and I've been riding the Rabbits off, so let's keep that continuing.
Yeah, Sharks at Sharks Park. Yeah.
Next game on Saturday, Dolphins Tigers.
This is a toughie.
First time since I've done this show with Paul, I've backed the Tigers in the 3rd game in a row to win. So yeah, I'm going Tigers, get them all in.
Wow.
I just think they're more confident at the moment. It's going to be big for the Dolphins, their first game at home, but I don't know. I still don't think their attack's good enough.
Tough game. I'll back the Dolphins.
I could easily go with Dolphins.
I wasn't going to add that to that. Was going to multi. Whatever.
You're welcome, Paul.
You're racist against the Tigers, Paul. You just every time we back them, you're like, nah. Then the final game of Saturday, Titans Knights have gone Knights. Just don't see the Titans being able to defend enough of what the Knights can throw at them.
I'll go Titans for a bounce back.
Nice. We're trying to save Paul money, I see. Then Sunday we've got 2 games. Eels, Doggies. I've gone Bulldogs.
Doggies for sure.
Yeah. And then Manly, Raiders. I've gone with Manly. It was a toss of the coin. But I'm looking for the bounce back, and they're at home. If they were in Canberra, I would have gone the other way.
What if we get to game day and Tommy and DCE are both got a pencil line put through them?
I can only pick what I know from now. I'm not going to pick on hypotheticals later on, Richie.
I'm going to go Manly because they're at home, and Canberra have to lose at some point.
So I'm skipping that one, boys. I'm not taking you there. That's green.
Well, that's no fun.
I'll go with all the others, but Green Machine. Sorry, I'm not going against a team that's on form.
You got to make the risks if you want to make the money, Paul. That's how it is. But gamble responsibly, people.
I'll be very happy with the return of $9.15 on my $2 bet if we get that
trip to the bakery.
What are the Warriors paying?
So the Warriors are where's it gone?
$1.90.
No, $1.87. Now the Roosters are $1.95. So the Warriors are slight favourites.
Yeah.
Right. I don't like that. I only like putting money on them when they're underdogs. It's a better way to lose money. But anything else you guys want to add before we let everyone go?
No, I'm happy, mate.
You happy?
Cool. Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight on the Standoff with Brad and Richie. For your weekly update on rugby league, tune into our show next Wednesday at 8 p.m. here on Facebook or on YouTube. Just remember to search for New Zealand Sport Radio. Cheers again for joining me, Richie, and thanks for your
Cheers.
help in the background, Paul. And good night, everyone.